Hello everybody and welcome to the Mastering Connect course. This is a Level 2 course building on the information that you've learned from the Basic Connect session. Today we're going to be talking about best practices to format your syllabus, how to create groups, archiving resources for future purposes, and how to create a question pool in the assessment tool. My name is Sarah Raymond and I'm the Online Learning Specialist for the Center for Innovative Instruction. You can always reach me at sraymond@trevecca.edu or give me a call at 615-248-1356. Today's quote, "Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can," by John Wesley. Alright, first off, we'll talk about some best practices in formatting your syllabus for your online course. Of course, at the very top, you want to have the name of the university, the name of the course, and the section. Below that, you want to give some general information like the dates and the credit hours, and of course the instructor's name. Here's where you want to put your experience, your education, your contact information so that the students are easily able to see right off the bat how to contact you if they have any questions. Beyond that, if you've set up a syllabus before, you know that putting the description at the very top, the learning outcomes, the textbooks, and any notes they need to see. It's always nice to have course resources, and giving a heading such as course resources or course reports or requirements to break up the syllabus in a more easily readable format is really nice. And then under that main heading, putting bullet points. And for the resources, we have them numbered, number 1 resource, number 2 resource, and also for the course reports, number 1 course report, number 2 course report, and so on. For course requirements, we do have them numbered bulleted point as well. I want to take the weekly devotional, for example. If you give it a heading and then right underneath that, give it a description, and right below that, putting the due day. And we put it in red font, excuse me, so that it's easily to be seen by the student right off the bat so they know what day their assignments are due. Another thing to note on formatting your syllabus is making sure that all of the numbered lists and any bulleted lists are correct. Sometimes when you input it in Connect, Connect messes up the order of the bulleted lists. So that's one thing to catch if you can. You can see under course policies we have bullet point number 1, number 2, and then we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then we start a second bulleted list, A, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Sometimes when copying over into Connect from Word, it has a hard time making sure that those bulleted lists are numbered and ordered properly. If you have any issues with that and can't get it to look right, feel free to send us an email either at my email address, sraymond@trevecca.edu or connect@trevecca.edu, and we will help you with that. Alright? So at the bottom of the syllabus is the course schedule, kind of breaking down, you know, how your course will progress over the 6 weeks. Alright, and that does it for best practices in formatting your syllabus. Next, we're going to move on to creating groups. So within your Connect course, there is a tool on the left-hand side that's called Site Editor. If you click on that, This is kind of the administration tool within your course. There's a lot of different things you can do here, but we're going to just click on Manage Groups. There are 3 different ways to create a group. You can create a group manually by selecting specific students to put in the group and creating the groups one by one, or you can automatically create the groups either by as the professor or by student name. So we're going to go over all 3 of those. Click Create New Group. This creates it manually, so I'm going to say Manual Group. You can put a description here if you would like to further describe how this group is supposed to work, what this assignment is, or what assignment they should refer to. And then down here you can see the membership site member list. It would look different for you. It would list out all of your students in the course. For me, since I have a playground set up, it's only showing anybody that I've added to my playground. But I want to create a group for the admins of my site. You may want to create a group for an assignment, so you would just select the students you want within that group. I'm going to select these 2 names, and then you hit this arrow button over, and it pops them in the group member list. So this is my first group, and I'm going to say Add. And you can see here, group title, manual group, size 2 people, and then there's an option to remove. And then now is when you would go in and start creating the second group. So that's a manual add, group by group. If I wanted to automatically populate the group, if you click on Auto Groups, now you can select it via their role. You would see student role and guest student role. So if you had your course populated or merged with a different section, you probably have guest students. So you want to make sure that you not only select the student role, but the guest student role so that you can see all of your students within your course. I'm going to click on Organizer because I know that I have organizers within my course. You would be clicking on Student or Guest Student or both. When you click on one, it pops down and it says, do you want to create a separate group for each role selected? Or do you want to create random groups from members with selected roles? So this is the 2 different types that you can automatically create groups. You can either create each separate group for roles that you select, and then you can select the students, or you can randomly create groups from the members with selected roles. So we're going to try the first one. Click Update, and it automatically populates a second group called Organizer, and there's 3 organizers, and you can either edit or remove. Let's try the second option. It tells you Organizer, a group with this role already exists. That was the other automatically populated. So I'm going to say Guest, and I'm going to say Create random groups from members with selected roles. Let me get to my notes. Go ahead and give it a group title. I'm going to say Auto Group. A number of groups. Say I want to give 2 groups, so it's going to automatically select those within that group. You can also split by a number of users needed per group. So this would be another way. You put however many students, and it would create those groups that way. So I'm going to do this split. Click Update. And I don't have any guests within my course, so it didn't create it for me. Once I select participant, it creates a group automatically with 2 people. And it also creates a guest group with 0 people in it. And that's how you create the different groups. You might have to experiment for how well it works for you and how you want your groups to be created, either automatically or manually selecting student by student. Next, we're going to talk about archiving resources. On the left-hand side, there's the tool called Resources. And within that tool, you can see I don't have very much information, but if you had a whole lot of information within this course, say it's a project course for a full cohort or something like that, and everybody has been adding to these resources. If you want to archive for future purposes, there's a very easy way to do it. Up at the top, there's Upload, Download Multiple Resources. If you click on that link, it's going to actually give you some directions here on how to download those resources for your specific type of computer. It creates a folder within your Windows Explorer, and then it downloads those resources within that folder. Okay. You can also upload resources this way. I find that most people upload their resources one by one as they're building their course. But if you have all of your resources already within a specific Windows Explorer folder, say either on your C drive or your documents or anything like that, then you can very easily upload that entire folder into the resources area. It gives you step 1, highlight the following URL and copy it into your clipboard. So really all you would do is highlight it, right click and say copy. And then you would select your proper operating system, whatever your operating system for your computer is. And then just a note here, it gives you 4 options, but really if you scroll down, it lists out all the options. So this link right here just pops you down further down the page. So we're going to scroll down to Windows 7, because that's the majority of TNU users are on Windows 7. And it says, note, there must be at least one object in the course or project resource area before you begin the setup procedure. This procedure needs to be done once for each site before you can use WebDAV to transfer files to and from any one site. So WebDAV is a plugin. It's kind of like a plugin where it allows your computer Windows Explorer folders to communicate with the Connect resource folders and back and forth. So you can upload and download files within those folders, and it will sync if it's looking in the correct place. Note 2, use of Sakai's WebDAV functionality on Windows Vista requires that you have Vista Service Pack 2, and then it asks you, to make sure that your computer is updated. These first 6 steps are most likely going to create a folder within your Windows Explorer and allow you to upload and download resources. These first 6 steps are the ones you want to pay attention to, and you want to follow each step specifically. If you have an issue with that, then it gives you an alternate method. But more than likely, you're going to be able to do it using these first 6 steps. So step number 1, from the desktop or start menu, click Computer. At the top of the window, click Map Network Drive. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up my Windows Explorer. When you click on Computer or My Computer, it brings up a window that looks like Windows Explorer, and then at the very top you can see Map Network Drive. If you click on that, it asks you what network folder would you like to map. Go back to the instructions here. Select a vacant drive letter, for example Z, from the Drive drop-down menu. So you just want to select something that is empty. Let's see here, let me get back to where we need to be. You want to select something that's empty. Most TNU users have an M drive, a C drive. If you have a thumb drive plugged in, then it's probably a D drive or an E drive. And then if you have a network share set up, then sometimes it's a Z drive or a V drive or an O drive. So you just want to select something that's not being used. I'm going to go ahead and select R for resources so that I can easily remember that, oh, that's my resources for Connect that I set up. The next step says, in the folder field, type or copy and paste the URL for this site shown above and click Finish. So remember that long address that we copied? We're going to make sure that we paste it in that window. This is a little bit longer of a process, but really all we're doing is following the instructions. Okay? There's a couple of different selections here. You can reconnect at sign-in, or you can connect using different credentials. You just want to leave whatever is selected default and click Finish. It's going to attempt to connect to the Connect site. It's going to ask you for your credentials. Click OK. And then it automatically populates on the left-hand side where your drive letters are. It has a really long name, that long name that we pasted into there, and it should be underneath, you know, C drive, D drive, and then Connect drive. And you can see that I only have 3 folders in there, graduation, photos, and an actual photo file. And that is correct. I can go back over here to site resources within my Connect course, and you can see that I have graduation, photos, and an actual photo file. So it is now syncing with my Connect online course, and I can put files in there, take files out, and resync it, and it will automatically upload and download resources. Alright, so that's how to archive resources. One more note about that. Since now it is syncing with this drive letter, if you want to save a copy of all of those folders and files, all you would do is highlight all of them and then move them to a different drive letter within your computer, or a thumb drive, or your M drive. If there's confidential and secure information, we recommend that you put it on your M drive so that it's backed up and secure, or a network share drive. So that's how you save a copy. Next, we're going to talk about creating a question pool within the Tests and Quizzes tool in Connect. This is a very common question. It's a very helpful resource to have. I'm going to bring up my sample test. And again, remember that formatting. If you've taken the Connect Tests and Quizzes course, then we taught how to format your quiz. And I'm going to do that really quick, just on one question, maybe two, no, just one. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to open up Notepad, paste it, and remember when you're formatting, we have to have the point value, the question, and then the answer options with the correct answer option indicated by an asterisk before the answer option. So there's my test question. I'm going to go ahead and copy that, Control-C, go back to my Connect course, create a January pool. You want to create using the markup text. There's two steps to creating a question pool. Actually, there's one step to create the question pool, and then the second step is to bring in questions into your quiz from that question pool. So the reason to use question pools is if you have a 150 question final exam at the end of your 6-week course, it would be a good idea that for each week when you give your quiz, and each quiz is, 20 questions, it would be a good idea to create 30 questions for that first quiz and create it as a question pool, and then pull P-U-L-L, pull questions from that question pool to your first quiz. So it would reference those 30 questions, but it would only pull in 20 questions for that quiz. And you would do that for all 6 weeks, and then at the very end, when you're ready for your final exam, all you have to do is tell the final exam to pull 6 parts from the different question pools from the 6 weeks that you created. And you don't have to create the entire 150 question final exam. You would just pull from all those questions throughout the 6-week course. So that's a great way to use question pools, and I'll show you how that works. So first we're going to create our question pool, and we're going to create it using a markup text. Say create, and this is where you would paste your 30 questions right here in this markup text. Right now I'm only going to use one. Click next, and it went ahead and created that question for me. If it's correct, you would see 30 questions here probably, or however many you want to use to pull from. And at the very bottom there are 3 options. You can go back and edit. You can create the assessment, and all it's going to do is create that as a standalone assessment, or you can create the question pool, which creates a holding bucket of all of those questions that you created, and then we're going to go back and create an actual assessment that brings in those questions. Okay, so I'm going to create question pool. And now it lists out all of my question pools that I've ever created. And you can see right here that my January pool is created. You can create sub-pools. If you click Add, you can create sub-pools underneath that. So if you have, the reason you would use that is if you had different parts. So if you had multiple choice for 15 questions, and then you wanted to do true and false for 15 questions, you can create another part within that question pool with true and false. All right, so it just lists all my question pools here. Now we're going to go back to the assessment, and I'm going to say this quiz is pulling from pool. Alright, so we're going to pull questions from that January pool. We want to create using the assessment builder. When you're wanting to pull questions from a pool of questions, you want to create using the assessment builder, and I'll show you why. If you click Create, over here on the right hand side, you can either copy to a pool, or you can just click on Edit, and it brings up a window here where in the type you can give it a title, but the default title is going to be what you've already given it, so mine is pulling from pool. And then down here underneath type, you can do what an assessment builder does, which is author the questions one by one, or the second option says randomly draw from the question pool. And then you can click on the drop-down menu here and select the question pool that we just created. So if I click on January pool, it tells me in parentheses how many questions I have in that pool. And in the number of questions, so say I have 30 questions within that pool, and the number of questions for this particular quiz, you can say 20, and it's going to pull 20 of those questions out of that 30 within that pool. And then you can give it a point value of the questions. This point value box here overrides any point value that you've already given within that particular pool. So I'm just going to say 1 here, or else it'll give me an error. And the type of randomization, right now it's selected on a student's questions are randomized each time an assessment is submitted, or a student's questions are randomized once for all submissions. Usually it's a good idea if you're drawing from a question pool to randomize each time the student submits the assessment. So if they have 2 chances to take the assessment, they will go ahead and go through all 20 questions to take the assessment, and once they hit submit, if they wanted to take it again, they would say retake, but then it would randomize those questions again for their second retake. Okay, if you have parts built within your quiz, you can randomize within the part or just as listed on the assessment questions page, and I'm just going to say save. It tells me what I've set up, and now I can go in and click the settings, and now I am manipulating this actual quiz that I want to give. All right. It tells me that I'm randomly drawing from January pool with 1 question, and it gives me the date and time, things like that. I can click on settings, give it a due date. I can say how many submissions are available, things like that. All of that information is taught within our Connect Tests and Quizzes session, so I'm not going to go over that right now, but that's where you would do this. If you go back to assessments, you can see here, if I scroll down, the quiz that I just now created is pulling from the pool. Okay? You won't see January pool in here because it's not an actual quiz. It is a question pool. But you do see my actual quiz that I created that is drawing from that January pool. Thank you for attending our Connect Master Level 2 session. My name is Sarah Raymond. I'm the Online Learning Specialist for the Center for Innovative Instruction. If you have any questions, please email me at sraymond@trevecca.edu or give me a call at 615-248-1356. Thanks, and have a great day.